to the Lifted Lifestyle Podcast. This is a call to action to live above limitations that try to disrupt your peace, steal your joy, and limit your access to your best life. How are you guys doing today? Wonderful, I hope. Thank you for joining me, Latasha Weatherspoon, your favorite host and the Chief Empowerment Officer of the Lifted Lifestyle. I am here today with my favorite host, Chaz Bailey.
Hello, world. How are you all doing? I'm doing great and glad to be joined by you. You can find me online at Twitter at Chaz Bailey, and I'm the COO, the Creator of Opportunities.
Yes, and I always forget to say that you can follow me on social media at Tasha Spoon on all social media channels, and at The Lifted Lifestyle on Facebook and Instagram, and at Love the Lifted on Twitter.
Exactly.
So join us and follow us, subscribe, all that good stuff.
All that good stuff.
So we have a great show for you today, but before we get into our show, we're going to do our normal gratitude. So Chaz, what are you grateful for today?
Oh, I'm grateful for a peace of mind because if you look up at the weather down in Houston right now, last week it was in the 30s, 40s, then it jumped to the 70s, 80s. And so having a peace of mind that doesn't change like the weather. So just being peaceful, seeing how things may come and go, ups and downs in life, just being grateful that I'm in a place where I'm consistent mentally. So I think that's something to be grateful for that we can easily look over.
Awesome. Well, today, I'm grateful for so many different things today. But if I had to pick one, I think I would go with my coworker, Ninda. You know, she gave me a compliment today. I woke up, I was late, and she was like, "You just look so beautiful in the morning." And y'all, I was tired. So, so I had to question her definition of beauty. But she was like, "Your skin is just glowing." And I was like, "Thank you so much." You know, I needed that little pick me up when I was already kind of tired and just rushing out of the door at 7 this morning. So it made me feel good to get to work and have someone give me a compliment. You know, small acts of kindness really do have a way of brightening your day.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's something we take for granted.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
a good thing. You got to be able to take those compliments. So I think that's a good thing.
Yes. We have a very exciting show for you guys today, but I am a little bit biased.
Yeah, she's biased. She's very biased. Well, it's something I decided to basically add to the show for what we do, because we're slowly approaching the anniversary of Latasha's best-selling book, Find Your Tribe and Break Bread, available anywhere books are sold. So definitely check it out if you haven't. But I think it's a great thing, and we're gonna basically take travels through the book. And so today's topic is gonna begin with that, with finding yourself. So how can you find your tribe before you find yourself? So that's what we're going to talk about today. You
have to find yourself. So we're gonna journey through the book over the next few weeks. We're gonna kind of uncover the chapters, and I have some little surprises for you guys as we go on and we get closer to the anniversary. So make sure that you're following us on social media. We'll be dropping some jewels for you, some little bonuses, and some resources for you guys.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're going to start today with the first chapter in the book, which is Find Yourself. Because in order for you to find your tribe, you must first find yourself. You have to know who you are at your core in order to attract the right kinds of people to you.
Yes.
Because if you're not sure who you are, a lot of times you'll attract people that will either try to manipulate you or shape who you are, or they're attracted to certain parts of you. But if you're not confident in who you are, then it's easy for people to kind of mold you and manipulate you a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. And also, just to add to what you said, which is 100% accurate, is that I would say when you hear the term "I'm finding myself," that's not necessarily a bad thing, because before you can allow other things to enter your life, or you know how to navigate through certain situations, you need to find yourself. And,
you definitely do.
And that basically gives you a foundation to grow upon. And when you walk into many different environments, it lets you know how to handle this environment, how to handle this person, how to handle this event that's going on in my life. So I think that's very important to remember.
So today I'm going to give you guys like 3 quick little ways to find yourself, 3 quick ways to take hold of who you are. And the first one is a simple one. It's to define who you are. I said simple, but not necessarily easy.
Yes.
But it is important for you to define yourself as a person, as a being for yourself, independent of anybody else's views of yourself, independent of any other role that you play in life. When I say that, I mean, like, for example, when I ask women, especially those women who are mothers, who are you? The first thing they say is, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a teacher. Well, who are you outside of the roles that you play in your life?
Yeah, definitely.
And sometimes mothers, they have a little bit of tension when it comes to start pushing from that, because once you are a mother, then you so much of yourself is surrounded by it that it gets kind of hard to pull those layers back. But when I say that, I mean that you are a person who's valuable outside of the role that you play, even for your children.
No, that's 100% accurate.
You are a person independently of the roles that you play for other people and in other areas of your life. Case in point, there are some women who, when their children get married and leave the house, they have a sense of restlessness and they don't know who they are anymore without mothering.
Yeah.
There are some people who are in marriages and relationships, and when or if the relationship comes to an end, then they're kind of floundering, not knowing who they are outside of that relationship, because it has simply monopolized their view and definition of themselves.
No, I agree.
So it's important for you to have a definition of yourself outside of any other role that you play, outside of any other expectation that's put on you by an external factor.
Yes, and I think I know you spoke from a woman's point of view, but I think as a man, we do it as well. Whether we speak about what type of fan we are with a sports team, whether we are part of fraternity, we'll quick say, I'm this, I'm that. But who are you yourself? Because like you said, we let those external factors basically become who we are, and that's still not who we are. So if I'm walking down the street and I ask, who are you? You say, I'm a graduate of this program. I am this, I am that. But you always have to remember that you, the person, gave that university their name. You, the person, gave that team their championships. Mm-hmm. You added something to that, whether it was your character, your smile, basically anything that you have, you added to that. So we have to remember that. And that's one thing before, to plug the book, the one thing I never thought about before I read your book was that I define myself by my surroundings, where I'm from and all of those things, not being cognizant of who the person I was, basically saying that I'm a nice person that enjoys this or doing that. I just immediately said I'm working in corporate America. I'm this, I'm that. And a lot of times, like you said, the environment shapes us, but we make that environment what it is, and we grow based upon that. So we have to remember that we are bigger than the names that come with what we do when we talk about who we actually are. So I think that's a very good point.
And that's true. I guess that is something that, a lot of men deal with as well, fatherhood and association, and their ties to different parts of their life. And none of those things are bad. It's important, to be tied to other things and other people and have affiliations, but you have to know who you are outside of those affiliations and attachments in order to be able to survive.
Yeah, that's true.
And,
that's real.
Even inside of wifehood and motherhood and, in the roles that we play, you have to take care of yourself. Yeah. And it gets hard to take care of yourself if that's all you see yourself as.
No, I agree.
I think about women like my grandmother, and women in her generation, that a lot of times all they wanted to be were housewives. Mm-hmm. So a lot of them subscribe to just that. So although my grandmother, of course, did a lot of other things and is great at a lot of other things, that was it. So if anything happened to threaten that she felt kind of chaotic, as a lot of people did. Shout out to the people that are watching us on Facebook right now.
Definitely.
I see you, Sister Brittany. Thank you for tuning in and being
Hey,
here
Facebook.
with us. You guys stay tuned in. Follow us. Share this with your friends.
Yes, definitely.
Invite other people to watch with you.
Of course, it takes a village.
Yeah.
Find your tribe. So yeah, definitely share, like, subscribe. Once we leave Facebook, definitely come check us out at theliftedlifestyle.com. Anywhere else podcasts are, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher.
Everywhere.
Tune in. We on iHeartRadio. So if you got that app or you got that computer pulled up at work when you're supposed to be doing your work and you listen to iHeartRadio, slide us in there.
Yes.
So we right there for you. So keep that in mind as we go along.
Yes. And when I say define yourself, I mean actually take a piece of paper and write I am and define all the things that you are at your core, all the things you love about yourself, and even some things that you don't love about yourself that you're ready to do the work to improve. How do you see yourself? Independent of any other experience or notion that's been subscribed to you, how do you see yourself? How do you feel about yourself? Write it down.
Yeah, writing it down.
Write it down.
Goes a long way.
It makes it concrete. It makes it real.
Yeah.
It becomes something tangible.
Yeah, that is true. So that's definitely something that I did, and and that's something I think you did a great job of in your book by having a spot where we could do that.
Yeah.
So basically getting that pad and pen and going at it, saying this is who I am, this is who I feel I am. Because a lot of times we do it this way. We'll say that I'm this or I'm that based on the situation as we just discussed. But a lot of times the things that we say about ourselves is what we receive from others.
Yeah.
So I think I'm a nice guy because everybody tells me I'm nice. I think I'm pretty because everybody tells me I'm pretty. So those type of things we have to take control of. Those things belong to us because we do that internally before we project that externally. So we have to keep that in mind.
Definitely true. And more importantly, once you write it down and you have a definition of yourself, it becomes a benchmark. Because you also have to give yourself permission to evolve. So give yourself permission to change, grow, and expand as needed in your definition and how you see yourself.
Oh, yeah.
So the first time you write down your definition of yourself, it is not the end all be all. It is only the beginning.
Yeah.
So it becomes a benchmark. So in 5 years, in a year, in 3 years, when you look back at it, you can say, wow, I saw myself as this, whereas today I see myself as this, and compare them. And it becomes a neat way for you to evaluate your own journey.
Yeah, definitely. Because you write your own living book. We refer to different religious scribes and things of that nature at living guides and living scriptures. But this is one you can take hold of and write yourself. Because it grows along with you. And then when you look back, you say, did I predict the future? Or was I walking in what I already said I was? So doing that is really powerful. And when you come down to it and you think about it, you possess that power to just pick up that pen and say, this is how I feel. This is how in tune with myself I am at this particular moment. And this is where I'm going. So I am this. I am that. I think that's wonderful.
And, don't get it confused. Of course, once you start to take ownership of how you present to the world, everyone will have an opinion.
Oh, of course.
Everyone will have an opinion of who you are, who you're supposed to be, what it's supposed to look like, what is a woman of color, what is a mother. Everyone has an opinion. But once you have taken control over your own definition, you get to decide what a woman is, what a woman of color is, what a mother is, what a wife is. You get to define all of your roles once you've defined yourself at your core. Because once you know who you are, then you can decide, well, this is who I am. So because this is who I am, then I'm going to make motherhood X, Y, and Z. Basically, thinking about it like this. So I know I'm fun loving and easygoing. Like I was talking to one of my friends on the phone yesterday, and she said, sometimes after school I give my kids a break because I need a break too. That may not be the best mommy thing to do, but that's what I do. And I think that, it's okay for you to give yourself permission to do that. It's okay for you to give yourself permission to be outside of the norm of what people describe. Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't.
No, it's
talk.
okay. You said the right thing, because we're going to do a little transition
right?
from Facebook, but we want you to like and subscribe the podcast. And so, as our time
it's been 15 minutes
already.
As
our time comes to an end on Facebook, but glad for everyone who's watching. I seen the thumbs up flying around the TV screens and everything.
Thank you guys for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. But definitely like, subscribe. We're on YouTube, Twitter. We're on Twitter too.
Yes.
But tune in, Stitcher,
Apple, iTunes,
Google
subscribe,
Play, subscribe. Yes, but because as we transition from Facebook, we don't want to lose you. So please visit us online at theliftedlifestyle.com/podcast. You got all our older episodes, and you're gonna get this one this evening. So definitely do that.
And when you're subscribing, especially on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher, stop by and give us a review. Tell us what you're thinking. Give us a star rating. Write a little comment, because we will be doing some giveaways based on people who leave reviews. It doesn't have to be good. Tell us the truth. We want the good, bad, and the ugly. Yes. We believe in honesty and transparency. So if there's something that we could be doing to be better, tell us that too. But make sure you tell us something.
Yeah,
so thank you guys for joining us on Facebook today, and we will see you soon. Go over to iTunes, Google Play, or YouTube for the rest of this episode.
Yes, it'll be up this evening, so check it out.
Thank you. Bye, Facebook family.
See you later.
So, for the rest of you who are listening to us in Apple world and Google world and all those other places, to get back to my point about everyone will have an opinion. Everyone will have an opinion about what you are supposed to be. But when you have a firm hold on who you are as a person, you're not easily swayed by other people's opinions.
Yeah, that's true.
I often think about young people in general, but especially young people, oftentimes are easily swayed by other people's opinions. If someone says, you should wear your hair straight, there'll be people who are more likely to wear their hair straight if they're not confident in who they are. Yes. If someone says that, everyone is doing X, Y, and Z, and that's not who you are as a person. But if you don't have a firm grasp on who you are as a person, you'll find yourself going with the flow, just going with the wind, doing
definitely.
Things that aren't necessarily within your core or your character, just because someone else has offered their opinion about who you are or what you like.
Yes, and I agree 100%. And then to add on to that, we have to remember the other side of it with people having opinions. Everyone has one, but we understand what opinions are, and your opinion matters most because this is who you are, and you see yourself as you are. So while others have an opinion, that's their right. And we have to remember one of the first things we were taught, everyone's different. So by everyone being different, everyone may have a different perspective. And so they'll come to you and say, you're this or you're that. That's okay. That's what
true.
You see. And I hope it's nothing negative. But that's what you see. But when I look at me, I see this, this, and this. And hopefully this overcomes everything that you see. And I hope it adds to what you see if it's positive.
But, even if it is negative, I often tell people, especially my coaching clients, when it comes to other people's opinion, you have to remember that their opinion belongs to them.
Yes.
Their opinion has nothing to do with you. And I tell people, people usually either love me or they don't really like me. There isn't too much middle ground. But even for the people who don't like me, that's their choice. That's their prerogative. That's totally their opinion of who they are. But I know who Latasha Weatherspoon is.
Yes.
I know who I am in my core. I know what my character is. So I can move with good confidence and sleep well at night. So I tell my coaching clients the same thing. Don't spend so much time focused on other people's opinions about who you are that you lose focus on who you know that you are, because sometimes we'll let other people's negative comments sway us.
Yes, that's true.
Am I really that kind of person?
Yeah.
Did I really Do that? No.
Yeah.
That's not who you are, but you have to know who you are, because throughout your entire life, until you stop breathing, someone will have an opinion about your life or something that you've done.
No, that's true. That's true. And they're either going to be positive or negative. You only get two choices. So it's either going to be positive or negative. And as long as you see what you are, you may have made a decision that wasn't so good, but guess what? That's just a decision.
Yes,
because
that's
a decision
moment.
is a moment in time. It is not who you are at your core. It's who you are in every other moment. It's just that particular moment, it didn't work out so well. It sounded like a good deal at the time, but guess what? You moved on, and now who you were before that decision, and you're going to be who you are after that decision.
That's important.
That's
Chaz.
very
That's
important.
Good.
Yeah, that's very important. We have to always remember that, because as people come along, they see the things we do, they add their opinion based on that, and that's fine. That belongs to them.
And and that's a valuable and important thing you just said, because a lot of times people will judge you on a sound bite of your life.
Yes.
They will judge you based on a chapter of your life, on the moment in which they walked in, and not on the totality of who you are as a being. So I think that's an important thing to say, this is who I am at this moment. And that's a bad choice that I made today. That is not who I am. And giving yourself some grace and allowing yourself to move past that moment and forgive yourself, which goes to, like we were talking about in our last show, you have to be able to forgive yourself when you have moments of unclarity or just, bad choices, because all of us have made bad choices at some point or another in our life, or at least choices that were lessons. Because I don't believe it was necessarily bad, but it was not the most positive or not the most representative of who we are at our core.
Exactly.
When we make those kinds of decisions, we have to be able to give ourselves some grace. So I really like what you said.
Yeah,
about
we do.
that.
And then we also have to understand what it is, because let's just go to the mall on a Saturday morning, and we're sitting there and we're kind of hungry. Walk through the food court and someone hands us a sample, and you're like, man, that's good, I want all of that. And you go back there and you get all of it, and you're like, I should have saved this money. It ain't that good, because you're judging based on a small piece of it.
Good or bad.
Yeah, good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you're in a place where you made a decision and you didn't take time to analyze everything. So going back to how we started, you find in yourself, we need to analyze ourselves. So we analyze who we are. Then whatever sample is given to us, we know what the best item on our menu is.
Mm-hmm.
And so by you knowing that, someone hand you a sample of whatever else is out there, you say, no, I'm good, because I know what the best item is and I'm ordering that.
Yeah. And and I think that the most important thing is allow yourself to evolve.
Yes.
And give yourself some grace during your evolution, regardless of how many times people try to remind you. And before we move on, I just want to say this one thing. If a person is constantly reminding you of who you were and you feel like you're evolving past that person or that place in your life, that's on that person. That has nothing to do with you.
No, not at
all. So give yourself some grace in your evolution. Define yourself over and over again as many times as you need to. But remember that your definition for yourself belongs to you.
Yeah, you only.
You only. It doesn't belong to anybody else.
Yeah, and that's real. You can't say anything other than that. It's yours. It's yours because it comes from a place. It comes from a library that only you have the key to.
Yes.
And so if you grab the book of you and you read the chapters and you read through it and you have not gave that book to anyone else, that's you.
And and then once you have created a definition of yourself and freed yourself from other people's opinions, you're going to have to constantly work to stay connected to yourself.
Oh, yeah.
To stay connected to your definition of yourself, to stay connected to how you see yourself. I say this over and over and over again. One of the best ways to do that is to affirm who you are and how you see yourself.
Yes.
Affirm the good in you. And even when you have identified challenges and places of growth in your life, affirm that you are working on them.
Oh, of course.
Affirm that you are actually in the
definitely.
fight and working on your journey,
Yeah.
I think that that's important. You have to stay connected to who you are for yourself.
You have to, because when you write on that paper, let's use that example again. I'm a fun, energetic person. And then you reach yourself, well, you find yourself in a slump and you're not really being fun and energetic, but you're saying I'm fun and energetic, but I just don't feel like it. Well, let's look at what made me fun and energetic. Was I in the house or outside of the house? And if you notice that if you're always allowing yourself to be cooped up in a room or always allowing work to basically shape your evenings and things of that nature, you can't be fun and energetic, really.
That's true.
You can't
That's
be
true.
yourself. So you have to put yourself in position to win. And whatever your win is, that's your connection to what you say you are. Now, if you make your affirmations and you go down the list and you have 5 things and you say, all right, fun and energetic. Now I know why I haven't been fun and energetic. So now I can kind of reshape my environment to allow myself be the best me as I can be at that time.
That's
I
true.
think we have to do that, and we have to pay attention to not only who we are, but what makes us work well and what we really are.
And, I say this all the time. One of the best ways to do that is to check in with yourself. We oftentimes ask everyone else around us, how are you doing today? How are you feeling today? Sometimes you need to stop and ask yourself, how am I feeling today? How am I really doing today?
And it's not that bad to talk to yourself.
I mean,
Not that bad.
and not necessarily a full-on conversation.
I mean, sometimes.
But
Beyonce had a whole song called "Me, Myself, and I."
That's true. Sometimes
So
it
you
is
have to
important,
talk.
to
You have
talk
to say
to
something.
yourself.
Sometimes sing.
But to check in with yourself.
Yeah.
And really be honest about how you're feeling, whether it's on an emotional or physical or a spiritual level. Because once you check in with yourself, then you're giving yourself the power to move past whatever it is you're feeling, or to stay in and bask in it if it's a good thing,
Yeah, that's true.
But you're giving yourself the power to be in control.
Of course.
You're giving yourself the power to really shape the next moment. Because if I can check in with myself and I can say, you know what, I'm not feeling so hot today. Well, then I can ask myself, well, what have I been doing lately? Oh, I haven't been sleeping well.
Yep.
What can I do to sleep well? Man, I've been having a lot of anxiety lately. Oh, man, I haven't really been spending my quiet time to decompress before bed. I haven't been saying my prayers or participating in my self-care practice. You get to decide what it is you've been doing that has gotten you to that point.
Yeah.
Good or bad.
Good or
Because if
bad.
I'm feeling happy, I'm like, you know what? I did get my hair done. Bought
Yeah.
these new earrings.
Yeah, and that's
Maybe I
what
should
works.
do that more often.
That's
you
what
know?
works. Like anything, the slightest thing, whatever brings that smile and brings that great feeling in yourself, you have to connect to. Like you just used the example of getting your hair done. You have to see someone, like as a guy, before they get in the barber's chair and when they get out of the barber's chair, they walk totally different. They come in slumped over, they leave walking like George Jefferson. So you have to know what brings you peace, what brings you joy. And overall, with the theme of this show of finding yourself, we have to understand that all of this is based on one thing: who's in control.
Ooh,
and if you're in
good.
control, that means you're in control of who you are at every time, as we discussed. You're in control of whatever opinion that comes at you, because they can come all they want, because your opinion matters
Or
most.
what you do with it.
Exactly. And then you control how you connect with yourself. You are your own best doctor sometimes, because like you said, why haven't I been sleeping? Oh, because I've been worried about this. So now you prescribed yourself the symptom and basically the cause and the effect. Now you're going to prescribe to yourself the solution. And you say, you know what? I'm going to decompress before I go to sleep. I'm going to take heed to my self-care practice. You're going to have to do all of those things to make sure you stay connected, because constantly we try to stay connected with everything else, with the world, with our relationships, our jobs,
Our cell phones.
but most of all, we have to remember to connect with yourself.
Yeah.
Because
That's your most important power source.
Exactly.
You
You
know?
took the words out of my mouth. You're your own power source.
We stay connected to our cell phones because it keeps us in the loop. It's our source of information, but you're your
Exactly.
biggest power source,
Exactly.
So, I mean, we're this week for your action item. I want to kind of take a different spin than I did on the book.
Okay.
Because in the book, I have you write a definition of yourself. But for this week's action item, I want to do something that I did with my coaching clients this week, some of them anyway. I said, what makes you happy?
Simple.
Make a list of 20 things that make you happy.
That sounds good.
And at first, the pushback is 20 things. That's a lot. But define 20 things that make you happy.
Exactly.
Big or small.
Big or small, whatever
makes
activity.
you happy?
Yes, anything.
Because if you don't know what it is that makes you happy, how can you expect anything or anyone to make you happy?
Control.
If you are not in control of your
not in
happiness,
control.
The same way your peace is your priority, your happiness has to be as well.
Yeah, it has to be. It has
to be as well.
Make that list and check it twice.
So
that's
for
what you have
this
to
week's
do.
action item, I want you to list 20 things that make you happy. If you are having trouble coming up with 20 things, or even coming up with 5 things, or coming up with one thing that makes you happy, then let's have a conversation. Contact me at theliftedlifestyle.com and let's do some work to find out why you aren't happy, to find out what is your block, your mental, emotional, or spiritual block that's keeping you from your happiness.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we've all been to a point in our life where we didn't necessarily feel happy. But if you're not feeling happy in a series of moments and not just a single moment, then let's have a conversation. If it's not something I can help you through, I know some great psychotherapists that I can refer you to for clinical expertise. But if it's something that I can get you through in coaching, let's have a conversation, or have a conversation with Chaz.
Yeah.
Let's talk through this together, because you should be able to come up with at least one thing.
Yeah, at least one.
At least one thing.
And we're going to branch it off like those old spider graphs used to do in elementary school, and you just branch off.
Yes.
Like I love having fun. Okay. What brings you fun?
Yeah,
Movies.
exactly.
Trips. Do all that.
Exactly.
All
Big
that.
or small. There
Big
is
or
no
small. You
wrong
gotta do
answer
everything.
for your happiness.
No. And nobody has control of that list but you.
Exactly.
So definitely write it down. It's no wrong answer. Like, it's a lot of people that say it's no wrong answer. Then when you say something, they be like, yeah, that ain't right.
Nope.
But no, this right here, this is going to be right regardless of whoever looks at it, because this brings you joy.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to.
And give yourself an opportunity to be okay with the fact that what makes you happy may not be the same thing as even the people who are closest to you.
Exactly.
Chaz loves to eat popcorn. I may or may not. I'm more of a chocolate kind of girl.
See?
So we just have different things, but that's okay.
Exactly. It'll work out though.
What's our good news story for the week, Chaz?
All right, everybody. Our good news story this week comes from a team of people that helped out an individual.
Okay.
But it's kind of two-sided, because this person actually did their deed based on what they believed in. And so the good news story basically comes from a worker who walked 11 miles every day to work.
Wow.
A young guy walked 11 miles every day to work. And then the coworkers found out, to make a long story short, they all pitched in. They didn't tell him that they knew he was walking, but one of the coworkers saw him and said, you know what? He doesn't have a car and he's walking all this way.
Wow.
So they all pitched in to help him out, and they bought a car for him. But on the back end of it, which is a joyous occasion because you helped him out with this vehicle, he actually said, well, I didn't have a choice because I have a beautiful little girl at home.
Wow.
And that wakes me up every morning, so I don't mind walking 11 miles every day and being there on time and walking home every day to make sure my baby is good.
And the quote, he said, I was banking on my feet.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, because like if you read the story or you check it out, what he says is that he doesn't have a vehicle, and he doesn't want to rely on someone giving him rides. So he banked on his God-given abilities of walking.
Wow, that is absolutely
something simple as that. And so it's two-sided, because
that's amazing.
The workers saw that, and it kind of goes to what you put out basically comes back to you. And so he put it out there for his daughter. And a lot of times we can get discouraged not having a vehicle and say, well, I can't work there no more because it's too far. And he did what he had to do to make sure someone else was taken care of, and then in turn they
Someone
took care of him. So I
wow,
thought that was
is
an amazing story.
absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for sharing
That was a great story
with us. You know, we like to bring you a little bit of good news every week because there's so many negative things that sap at your mental and emotional energy during the week. We want to be a source of good news and a source of positivity and light for you. At The Lifted Lifestyle, we aspire to inspire, uplift, and empower. Thank you so much for joining us here this week, for being with us every week. Remember that you can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and now iHeartRadio.
Yeah, iHeartRadio.
So you can stream us
definitely
live on iHeartRadio on your cell phones, on your applications, and any other way that you choose to listen. Remember to follow The Lifted Lifestyle on all social media platforms. I am Latasha Weatherspoon at Tasha Spoon on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter, and then we're on the Twitter at Love the Lifted for The Lifted Lifestyle, and I'm on there as just me, Chaz Bailey. So you'll find me there. And, always check us out at liftedlifestyle.com. Like, subscribe once again, and we'll definitely see you soon, and thank you for joining us.
All right, see you guys soon. Thank you.